While I was working on the proper way to say all this and phrase it and all that other good stuff for a summer camp that I'm teaching, I came to realize that I never really asked this question, or at least I haven't asked it in this capacity. Well, one or two questions, I should say. With that in mind, the first question is, what do you use your characters for? Honestly, the first question really should be, why did you make your OCs, or why did you make your original characters? But that's that first question of why, well, what do you use them for? That's something that always got to me. And I even asked today in a couple of group chats just to see if I was crazy or if I was actually in the right mind for thinking something like this. But that's the question I want to ask first. What do you use your characters for? Obviously, you won't be able to answer that question. Well, you can. You won't be able to answer that question in the way that I really want you to. So you can leave it in the comments below, right under that subscribe button, and we'll call it a day. Now, going into the second question, which is, why did you create them in the first place? This question definitely has a couple of different answers, but one of my favorites is, well, it's not really my favorite, but it's the basic one of to get better at art, which is mostly the first one that most people will say. The second one could be to tell fun stories, to spice up my work. That's the number 3. That's actually one I like that, and that makes me laugh a little bit. Or to just make something cool, which is that fourth and final one. Obviously, none of these could apply to you, or they all could apply to you. They all apply to me, which is why I said them and wrote them into my little script that I have here. And one person I asked even said that they make the characters for the backstory and the aesthetic, which that kind of hit me like a truck because I didn't realize you could have made the story first and the aesthetic first, and then went on straight into making the characters, because now you have a background for what characters you want to have in this world. Ironically, something that I didn't realize is that a lot of OCs serve as the character that has just been thrust into a world that has been more created or more fleshed out than the character itself, and then the character gets fleshed out as they explore the world. That sounds like textbook storytelling, but as I'm saying this out loud, it made more sense to me when I said it out loud, so that's why I said it the way I did. I find that very funny because I didn't think about it until literally just now. With all of these answers in total, and there are probably many more that you can think of than these, which again aren't really the right answers, but they are some of the first questions that you can use to help answer why you do what you do, especially in regards to using these characters and drawing them and depicting them and painting them in your artwork. I genuinely believe that most people have their own idea for what their characters look like, and in doing that, they help fulfill a vision that they already had, but now using the characters as, like I said earlier, the backdrop, or at least the aesthetic, to help flesh out what they want to do, they can actually do that thing faster and maybe even a lot longer too. I think that's one of the things that may kill someone inside, especially an artist, where they want to keep doing something for so long, but then they just don't have the will or the motivation or the thing that they want to help bolster that want. I think I just gave you another answer. Anyway, that's funny. I like that. But many of these answers might end up being some of the same stuff over and over again, especially if you ask your own friends like I did earlier. When I started thinking about this, I immediately thought about what George R.R. Martin's response to this type of question was, and how it has basically impacted a lot of what I do over the past year and a half or so, or at least honestly 4 years, but year and a half is really a good starting point for what I've been doing so far. And on his website, he actually has this answer, and luckily I was able to find it as fast as I did, but again, it was on his website. He has this response on his Q&A page, and there's a little bit more context to it as well, so I'll show the entire screenshot as I'm reading. But the highlighted part is really what I'm going off of. Write every day, even if it is only a page or two. The more you write, the better you'll get, but don't write in my universe, or Tolkien's, or the Marvel universe, or the Star Trek universe, or any other borrowed background. Every writer needs to learn to create his own characters, worlds, and settings. Using someone else's world is the lazy way out. If you don't exercise those literary muscles, you'll never develop them. And I love how literary muscles is emphasized towards the end of the quote, which it makes a lot of sense because the brain is a muscle and all that other good stuff, but the literary aspect is very interesting because that just involves story. And with this being related to writing and not necessarily art, but they are very much interchangeable in this particular instance, it just makes a lot of sense. And I didn't think about it until I got to reading this, and it came all right together. It was very interesting to actually read that again because it serves as one of many reasons why you have to be careful when writing other people's characters or any other variant of their characters. I think one of the best examples is the spider sonas, where people will make their own spider characters and the spider OCs, spider men and women and all that other good stuff. And it was extremely fun to do, but it was something that you could do, but you're still partially in the Marvel universe. So you have to be careful even with creating your own original characters in that universe. Because the Marvel universe and the Spider-Man universe, or the Sony Cinematic Universe, or whichever one they're actually deciding to call it these days, it's still a borrowed background as Martin refers to it. If you ever do create a spider-sona, you have to make it different enough or deviate enough to the point where you can make it your own thing and put it in your own universe. And I'm fairly certain that most people who've created spider OCs have done that. And I don't know why I'm so hung up on spider OCs at this point. I think it's because I'm still excited about Spider-Verse, and I really need to go see it about 5 more times. And also my next video is probably going to be about Spider-Verse. So anyway, hint, hint, next, subscribe for that video. Anyway, adding on to that, while the main topic here is technically supposed to be art OCs, the main subject is still there, even if you are a writer or a painter or anything that is related to the creative medium. So I highly recommend that at the end of the day, you make your own stuff and make your own stuff and make your own stuff. And why did I say that 3 times? Because make your own stuff is related to characters, worlds, and settings. Do all 3 of those things. And at the end of the day, for the second time, have fun with it, because these will make you a better artist because they will challenge you. And what I plan on saying to my students is that exact same thing. Making your own OC, or at least starting with one, can help you learn character design. It can help you learn anatomy as well as color theory. And just sticking with those 3, it's extremely fun and extremely cool to think about, because you expose yourself to all of this type of stuff, all of these basic fundamentals of art, and you don't even know it until you start looking at why you had to do it in the first place. Which goes back to the beginning question of, why did you make your OC? You'd be really surprised how much color you could, or at least how much you can learn about color, when you just make your own character who just happens to have the most bombastic amount of colors and shades and vibrancies and all that other good stuff on their outfit, or even in their hair, because every anime character needs to have every anime character needs to have that type of hair, if you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen any anime, you know what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, that is truly the brutality of having your own art OC, or even making one in the first place, because it's brutal to make one, and then it's just as brutal to keep it and keep it going. And there are plenty of artists in this world who have done it and done it very well, but there are plenty of artists who have gone in the wayside and gone by the gutter, and they have lost that way and never came back to it, or never were able to get to it in some way, shape, or form. So take these little nuggets, and however long this is actually going to be, take these little nuggets and just go with it and think about why you create the way that you create. My reasons for creating my OCs have been mostly the same as what was stated earlier. It makes sense to me, and as I was asking, it made sense to everyone else. The only thing that I didn't think about was aesthetic, which that was a cool one. So if you ever create your OC for aesthetic purposes, that means you have the aesthetic and then you actually make the character to match. That's really cool. I like that. I don't think I've ever done that, but I'm fairly certain I have, which is why I'm asking myself this question, so I can think about it and think about when that actually happened. So anyway, I think that is where I'll leave it for now. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the little speed paint of whatever OC that I have here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be my character Max, and Helena. If not, you will not hear this part. But anyway, with all that being said, thank you all for watching and listening. And if you have any other items that you want to add onto the little OC talk, especially in regards to why you create your OCs, please say it in the comments down below and I will respond, because this is going to be fun, a little fun dialogue that I actually like having. And feel free to like and subscribe, hit that bell for all the notifications, and do all the other stuff that YouTube tells me to do, to tell you to do, and all that other good stuff, because that's how we do stuff, I think. Maybe, kind of, possibly. So with all that being said, I will catch you all later.